Welcome back to Weekend Express. This is the Weekend Review. We take a look at stories that have been making headlines for the better part of this week. And my panelists are here in studio. And gentlemen, just before we went to a break, we were talking about the IEBC wars with the printing of the presidential ballot papers. And even as we wait for the court's ruling on that hearing, IEBC still has a few more issues to deal with in terms of trust and credibility. And among those is the sanitizing of the voter register. Just 2 weeks ago, IEBC said that they got rid of about 80,000 plus dead voters. Not too long after that, we had the opposition coming out and saying that there is about 400,000 people who have been registered twice in the voters register. Let me begin with you, Ndolo. Once again, an issue of trust and credibility. In terms of the voters register, do you think IEBC has done it right?
Well, I think at the moment, IEBC, on my side, they've tried their best. The way you have put it, they have just come in a few months ago, or 6 or 7 months ago. And, you know, it's not easy to repair everything which has been there for all those past years. Let us give them a time up to whatever, maybe in another 1 or 2 weeks, so that maybe they can come out with a good report on what they are doing.
And 1 or 2 weeks is about all we have, you know.
Yeah. And what I'm saying, what we have, maybe, if they are going to work hard, they can do something good for this nation.
Right.
We depend on them. They are the ones who now everybody is looking upon them, that they are the saviors for this nation.
Right. Havi, your thoughts on this? Are you as optimistic as Ndolo is? I mean, IEBC has been trying to sanitize the voter register for quite a while. Chebukati didn't come out and say that we cannot have a completely sanitized register because we still have people dying every day that are still in that register. But there's been, you know, a lot of complaints. People who've been registered twice, some whose details are missing from the register. IEBC says it's just a technical hitch. Is this the information the country should be receiving 20 days to the election?
IEBC is taking Kenya for a very perilous journey, and it's for obvious reasons. I think the manner in which it was designed is supposed to be a luxury limo with airbag, with air condition, with seat belts, but all these necessities of good travel have been stripped out of this luxury limo. It's now a jalopy. So I think the journey we're traveling is just a journey of chance, and it's good to be truthful. If IEBC had done its work in the manner in which it was designed, because it has all the resources, it has the constitutional and structural facilities set out by the statute to enable it to conduct a fair and credible election. But all that they have done is to indicate to us that they're not going to do this. I think it's not an issue of trial and error, but we expect, with the vigilance that has now been put forth, IEBC must, despite stripping all those necessities of good travel, ensure that we reach the destination.
Right. Let me hear from you, Tanui. You're running under the Chama Mashinani ticket. In terms of the credibility of the voters register, your thoughts on how IEBC is carrying this out?
Thank you, Michelle. I would want to say let's give credit to where it's due. I want to agree with my friend that IEBC have done a good job ever since they started. However, they still have a lot to do. I want to say it's been a long process ever since they started registering voters. They procured kits, they listed candidates, and now they are recruiting clerks and returning officers. And deputy presiding officers, among others. I want to say they've tried the best they could and under all circumstances. I know there are challenges, and they have very serious challenges. When it comes to the voters register, I know it may not be possible to have 100% clean register. It will not be possible. However, we have a very good system, and I want to believe in this system that we will get the right voters. Remember, it's an electronic system, and it will not be possible. I've heard people saying that there are those who are dead and they are likely to come back and vote.
Right.
To me, I don't believe in that, Michelle, because I know it will be very hard for you if they are using biometric system to verify voters, then it will be very hard for anyone to just come and use my fingerprints. That won't be possible. So I want to say, to me, I'm giving IEBC about 72% of trust, and I want to believe that we are going to have a fair
do. I mean, I see Havi laughing, but let me come to you. Let me come to you, Tommy. This confidence and the optimism that Tanui has, do you think it's being reflected among the electorate?
No, I do not. And the reason why is because they're not informed. They don't understand the electoral process. And I think IEBC should do a better job in informing the public. Say, make a short YouTube video, okay? A 2-minute video of the voter process, how you're confirmed through biometrics, how you pick the vote, how the polling station works and where the votes are tallied and how it will be announced. Let the public know. This is going to this perception of theft, voter theft, vote theft will be negated through this process.
Right.
Yeah.
Havi, you were laughing when Tanui was making his comments, but even as you give your thoughts, let's go to page 15 of The Nation here. This is an article by Maina Kiai. And he says loopholes in stealing elections are being sealed thanks to reforms, saying that Kenyans are learning from their past regarding election promises dating all the way back to the 1992 elections. And so, do you think that these loopholes really are being sealed as a result of Kenyans becoming more aware of the issues that have been marring elections?
Yes, the starting point will be this election stealing. I don't think it is in the realm of vitendawili. This is a reality. Several inquiries that have been conducted towards enabling a fair electoral process have indicated several past instances where elections are said to have been stolen. So to that extent, the vigilance with which we see the so-called civilian coup conducted through the court process is intended to ensure that all the loopholes are sealed. And a question may be asked, if this be a civilian coup, what else will you have preferred? A military coup or a civil strife? If you look at the Constitution, it says all authority is derived from the people. And if the people were to conduct a civilian coup in the manner in which they say, through a judicial process, then so be it. Because that is intended to ring fence and ensure that what they have voted for is what they get out of an electoral process.
Right.
A sanitized exercise. And to that extent, I will agree with Maina Kiai. They appear to be a consistent effort through a legitimate process. A judicial process cannot be in any manner whatsoever be confused to a coup. It is a people-driven process.
Right.
So to that extent, that is the way to go.
And Tommy brings in the point that the electorate is not quite aware, and that's the reason why they don't quite have trust in the IEBC in terms of how the electronic system is going to work. Quite different from what Tanui seems to think. But Ndolo, Tommy says IEBC has not done enough, or at least the voters are not educated enough about how the system is going to work. What more do we expect the IEBC to do? They've been carrying out civic education for quite a while.
Well, Michelle, Tommy, on the other side, he's right. However, I'll put it this way. Since we came up with this new constitution, it has brought a lot of things for the right of a voter. You can see how NASA is coming out with how to protect the votes.
Right.
They have this adapter polling station, which is very good for NASA, because now for you to go there and steal, and you can see that everybody will be there with their agents, and many of them maybe 1 or 2 or 3. So they have a system of protecting it. But when we go back to IBC's Tommy issue, that they've not done whatever they're supposed to do, look at the time when they came in and look at the past. I mean, the ECK and the other people who did it. To me, I think they are, if you look at whatever they are doing, look at those leaders. Look at Chebukati. Look at that lady Akombe. You can see that they mean good for this country. But the Constitution also do a lot of things. Whatever you do, somebody can go to court. So it delays. They don't have the powers. So let us also help the IEBC. It's us, as the Kenyans, the people, who can make sure that this coming election is proper and fair.
Right.
It's not anybody else.
But of course, it's impossible to stop somebody from going to court by the basis that is their constitutional right.
Yes.
Which brings in quite a spanner in the works. But let's move on from this conversation, gentlemen, and focus on something else that has been making headlines this week, and that is the new salary structure by the Salaries and Remuneration Commission for state officers and politicians, especially those who will be, this will be effective in the 12th Parliament right after the general election. So there's a cartoon on page 14 of The Nation, which will be forming the basis of our conversation here. So we have Sarah Serem, and she's trimming the grass there, seemingly trimming the salaries of the state officers. And just by the corner there, we have a very dark section with members of the 12th Parliament armed with rungus and pangas, ready to, thwart whatever she's trying to do. Let me begin with you, Tommy. You seem rather excited about this one. Will this hold in the 12th Parliament?
Serem, I love you for this. I think you could have gone further, but I know what you're up against. Remember 2013, first thing the Parliament did was to threaten to defund SRC unless they got the pay raise, because they got their raise from 530,000 to much higher.
Right.
I support Serem, and I think the public should support Serem in this. And remember, Boniface brought the pigs out there to protest this salary raise that they. Yes. Now I think she should have gone further. And I'll tell you why. Think about an MCA. An MCA is the most popular person in the village, right? Because an election is a popularity contest at the end of the day, right? So an MCA, exactly, unfortunately. So now the most popular guy in the village is going to get what,
about 110,000.
About 110,000. You do not go to government to get rich, okay? We have free enterprise in Kenya. You take a risk in business, you succeed, you fail. So I think you should have gone a little bit further.
But the question is, just even basing by this cartoon on page 14, satire is very deep. Will this hold in the 12th Parliament? Do these parliamentarians have the goodwill to implement this, the bill that will be reducing their very own salaries?
If we pressure them, it's possible. And they said they already gazetted them. I don't know if that was an election pitch, but they said they had gazetted them, and it's already done.
Something that's
what they said.
Let's hear from Tanui Ndolo. You are looking to come into the 12th Parliament. Tanui, your thoughts on this reduced salary for members of Parliament?
Michelle, I'm a servant of the people, and I would want to say yes, I agree with Sarah Serem that the public wage bill has been too high, and it's good for it's good that it has been reduced, although there is still a big difference between those who are earning those who are in lower class and the ones who are earning higher pay.
Right.
And I would want to say, if there was a way in which Sarah Serem can reduce the gap between the ones between what the MP is earning and what the MCA is earning, then it will be good.
Quite right. Ndolo, you're also looking to come in as a parliamentarian in the 12th Parliament. Do you support this reduced pay structure, and do you think it will achieve the aim it was meant for?
Well, I support Sarah Serem, and I know she has a very strong team. Some of them were in Parliament as well. You can see leaders like Oloa Ringo, which they have a very good reputation, and experience on issues concerning Parliament.
Right.
However, people say power is sweet. You go there, you never know. When you are there, you forget. Some of these leaders just talk when they're outside, but when you go inside there, it's very difficult for one to learn what is going on. You can be good when you're outside, but when you go in, maybe you can even be worse than whoever is doing in that Parliament.
And why is that? Because we keep saying that when we bring in a group of leaders, then things will change.
Well, I've started by saying power is sweet. When you are there, you get things free, maybe you didn't have before. and now you forget. You want to be somebody maybe better than whoever was there. So it also, Michelle, it depends on the person that has been there. And maybe when you are outside, you are doing better than an MP. So somebody who was he didn't even was not even thinking that he's going to get $1 million. What do you think is going to behave? He might be thinking this is the end of the world. Let me do everything, which is if I get out of here, I'll die. So it's something that our leaders should make, that if you are going to be a parliamentarian, that's you are somebody who can do better than anybody else in this country. You can be anybody.
There's been a bit of criticism, and let me come to you, Havi. I'll come to you, back to you, Ndolo. There's been a lot of criticism that this reduced pay structure might not achieve its intended aim of reducing the public wage bill, because, just judging from Ndolo's statement, we'll have a crop of leaders who now will get in there with reduced salaries and will now seek to amass more wealth in different ways, which means corruption. So, Havi, will this amount to a loss or a reduction in corruption, especially among our state officers?
It will not amount to any reduction in corruption. In fact, in my view, it will not amount to anything. Look, an elected leader is one very peculiar employee. He's a very powerful employee who is the only one that has the power to determine his remuneration. And if you may look at that cartoon, I don't think the lawnmower that is being deployed by Serem will last long. The members of parliament will just deny it fuel, and all of a sudden the grass will start growing in parliament within a few days. Look, I think our intention is just intended to excite the public, and let's be fair to reality here. It's quite unfortunate. I don't want to term it as one of the launched projects. But this is not it's not going anywhere.
Right.
When those chaps, Mheshimiwa here and the other ones, come to parliament, as they say, power is very sweet. They will come there and say, we don't need a lawnmower in our garden anymore. Let the grass grow. And they will retain their salaries. It's a futile exercise.
It's a futile exercise. And I mean, earlier on, Tommy had said an election is a popularity contest, and it's unfortunate that seems to be the situation in our country. But Tanui brings in an important point, that you'd like to see a reduction in the gap, between, say, members of parliament and MCAs in that level. But do you think that this will achieve its aim of reducing the public wage bill from 52% to 35% of annual revenue? Tanui. I mean, in terms of the public wage bill, will it achieve the intended intended aim? It
will definitely, because when you look at it, those who are earning quite a huge amount of salary are few people. And when you look at the difference between those who are earning much and those who are earning a small amount, the difference is so big, so that if we reduce the gap, definitely we may even bring it down to almost 3.2 or something of the sort. So yes, I do agree. But then it requires goodwill, because I know, as said by my friends here, when parliamentarians go to parliament, they tend to change. And they are carried away by the amount of money or salaries and
really need
the
to interrogate what it is in there that makes them change.
Yeah, but most probably it will happen to all those other guys apart from myself. That's why I do say what takes you to parliament, what drives you to parliament matters quite a lot. If you're going to serve people, then it is a different agenda. But if it's your stomach taking you to parliament, it will definitely be a totally different
agenda. All right, gentlemen, we're out of time. So let's have your closing comments, Ndolo, especially on the SRC issue, and whether you are a leader of the people, as Tanui says, supporting the reduced pay structure.
Well, I think I'll recommend whatever the SRC has done, and give credit to the team of Sarah Serem, and I'll ask our leaders in this nation to think about what we are supposed to do. Let us think about our common man who is there in the village. Let us think about our people who are in the slums. how they are suffering now, and not just think about how much we can get.
Right.
You can have everything in this world, but you cannot buy, well, you cannot buy your body, or you cannot buy your life.
All right, and that's a good point to end this conversation. Gentlemen, we're out of time. Thank you so much for joining us on Weekend Express. We've been speaking to Reuben Ndolo, who is an independent candidate for the Makadara parliamentary seat. We also have Isaac Tanui, who is a candidate for the Langata parliamentary seat under the Chama cha Mashinani ticket. I've also been speaking to Tommy Randall, who is a lawyer, as well as Nelson Havi, who is also a lawyer. That conversation brings us to a close here on Weekend Express. We thank you for staying with us. My name is Michelle Ngele. Have a good morning. I'll see you again at about 10 a.m. with the latest news making headlines.
Thank you so much.